Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Through My Lens. Today we're joined by Kara Irving Fisher of Michigan State. I'm not only the host, but husband and fellow SID Zach Fisher. So, Kara, just a couple quick icebreakers. What is your favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip, without a doubt.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite sport?
Soccer.
Favorite sports team?
St. Louis Cardinals.
All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's dive right into some of these questions here. Through your time as an SID, how have you seen things change and evolve from what they were when you first started in the business?
Well, I think the easiest part is just the technology. I remember being an intern and trying to through the hotel line to send my story over the phone lines to get to somebody, and now no one knows what that sound means. And we're trying to get quick hitting videos out and all these other social media hits, and you're making sure you got all the socials covered, all while still doing the basics of writing the story and keeping all sorts of age ranges of fans connected to your programs.
What lessons, tips, or tools that you learned early on that you still apply and use nowadays?
I think the basics are pretty much the same. Have a good connection with your coaches, have a good connection with your players, learn their stories, tell their stories. Getting to know them on a personal level helps you tell their stories in in more on the field level as well. So I think those basic tools in the toolbox are always going to come in handy. Learn your writing skills and keep up on writing styles, because at the end of the day, that's probably, I still think, one of the most important ways to be a communicator is to be able to have strong writing skills.
And if you could go back in time and talk to that first year SID, Kara Irving, what would you tell her, and is there anything that you'd tell her to do differently?
Trust in yourself continually is probably what I would tell her. No second guessing. Your gut instinct was probably right from the beginning. I think that was probably the biggest fear I had, was just, am I doing it the right way? Is my gut telling me the right way? And it was. Probably just trusting in myself and my abilities. Stop wasting time doubting yourself when there's so many other things to do, and just get the job done, because you are going to do it right.
All right. And now, besides forming the power couple of Team Fish, aka Bald and the Beautiful, I'm the bald one. But what is your favorite thing about being a veteran SID?
I think my favorite thing is that all these years later, you still don't know what a day is going to bring. We have our to-do list. We game plan as the two of us of how the day is going to look. And surprise, it never turns out that way. So I still love that surprise, and that no matter how much we plan, some curveball is going to come at you. But I think we can prepare ourselves for those curveballs much better. I can hit a curveball much better than I could back in 1998, when I might have just swing and a miss. I'm at least making contact now. So I think that's the best part, is that this job is continually surprising me. Otherwise, so there's never a dull moment. Otherwise, I don't think you'd stay with it this long, as the hours seem to get longer instead of shorter the more years we do it. But it's the surprise and the fun of the athletes that keeps you coming back.
Now, we've talked about the past. Now let's fast forward to the present. And with the present social issues, including the Black Lives Matter movement, how has that and other social issues made you a better SID and a better person?
I think ultimately it's made us learn from our athletes, listen to our athletes. They are leading these charges. And if we learned nothing from this last year, it's that they know what they're talking about. They have passion in their voices, and they want to be heard. I think if we didn't listen to them in this past year, then we aren't going to listen to anybody. So I think it's really helped us hear them, hear what they need from us, hear what they want to tell the world, and follow their lead. I really think that that's one of the best outcomes that's come from this is we have heard them so much more, especially women's voices and especially women of color's voices. It's a powerful, passionate community. I think we're finally breaking through to hearing them.
And now, why did you become an SID, and is that same reason still a reason currently?
I became an SID because I love sports and I couldn't play sports. Those are still both true. And I thought I wanted to be a journalist and learned I liked being behind the scenes. So those are all still the basics of why, my why. I love being a part of this, and I really found studying journalism that I didn't want to be the one with the microphone in the face after you just lost Game 7 of the World Series. I wanted to be the one behind the scenes preparing you. How do you deal with that moment with grace? How do you say thank you to your fans and your family, you know? So I wanted to be that person on the other side, holding the hand and telling them, you got this, you can do this, let's make your family and your university proud. So I think that's how I got into it, and it's still why I do it.
Now, you've been in different parts of the country, from the heat and humidity of South Carolina and Florida to the thin air and mountains and the snow of Colorado and Utah, and now in Michigan. Kind of what have you learned from each job and each region that you can bring to your everyday job?
I think in the South, you learned so many different things from being at a SEC school. I learned what high profile was right off the bat when I was an intern at Florida. They were coming off a football national championship. I got to go to an NCAA soccer tournament my first year in the business. So you learned kind of the media savvy of working in an SEC school and high profile right away. Heading out west, and I worked at a conference office, I think I learned how to be seen as an equal with coaches, running coaches meetings when I worked at the WAC. I think that those were powerful tools helping me become like a women's basketball SID on a bigger stage back at Michigan State and in the Big Ten. I wouldn't be able to stand for myself as much as I can do now, having not worked at the WAC and been the one running meetings with coaches and organizing championships and having, you know, the buck stops with me in those situations. So I think that gave me a lot of confidence to handle myself in other situations.
Now, what did you do in that first year to make sure that you did not throw away your shot to become a great SID?
Listened. I think there was so much listening done. I am always grateful to Mary Howard and Steve McLean at Florida for letting me jump into the deep end. And they were always going to be there to help pull me out if I got stuck, but I had to learn how to swim. And I listened to their lead. They were veterans in the field in 1998, and they're still going strong. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity, so I could become my Alexander Hamilton someday and, you know, take my shot when it was my turn. But I think you just have to be willing to not say, I know how to do this, and listen to the people who have walked in those shoes before.
How can we support SIDs of color?
I just think we need to, one, let people know about this business. There's not enough of us. And when we do find each other, I think things like BC Cider are wonderful to just have a space, a safe space for us to get together and vent and pull each other, you know, keep our heads tall and always be there, network, let us know about people we may not have met on another side of the country who's doing great things at a smaller level, and if they want to move up to a Power 5, that we're there to be there for them. So I just think backing each other up is the biggest thing, and no, you know, there's just not very many of us, so we have to stay together at all costs. And I think it's a great community, and I think that's another thing that came from all of the events of last year. Is I really got to know a lot of my brothers and sisters of color, and being a part of the COSIDA Diversity and Inclusion Committee has been a wonderful experience over the last year or two. So I got to meet some great people that I think I'll know for the rest of my career, and as an SID, and I'm just really proud to get to know some of those people.
Anything else for our audience or anyone else?
No, I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to share what it's like through my lens, and I'm always available if anybody wants to talk.
Hashtag Kara out. And that concludes this episode of Through My Lens. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors and have a great and lovely day. Take care.